And today, as I mentioned in the previous class, so I'll repeat this particular one and I'll explain how SAS works for this particular case. So today's class is going to be the most important class. So this is going to decide the fate of your learning in SAS. How good you're going to understand this particular problem today, how good you're going to understand the way how SAS works, that will definitely decide the fate of your learning. Maybe you may feel like I'm exaggerating, not at all. That's the truth, right? So please pay a lot of attention in today's class, and at any point of time, if you have any questions, kindly let me know. All right, this how SAS works will continue for today and tomorrow as well. It will not complete in a single day. It will continue for today and tomorrow. But today I'll cover the first part, the most important and the critical part. Once I complete this, then I can go with the second one. Okay, right. So I hope all of you remember this. Last class I have started with what is called data, what is called in file, and what is called input. But anyways, I'll just repeat that one more time. So data is nothing but it's a keyword which will tell what is my output data set is. It can be used to create my output data set. I can create one or more data sets with a single data keyword. That is the first one. Second, in file. In files defines what is my input file is. Where is my input file is located, what its name, and what its extension. Three parts I need to mention. You can see here. Number three, input. Input will decide what are the variables, that is nothing but SAS dataset fields, SAS dataset columns to be part of my output dataset. Whatever the dataset I'm defining here, for this data set, in this particular data set, what are the variables should present? What are those properties are? We know that there are two properties. Number one, it should be a character or a numeric. Number two, it is going to be what is the length of it? Am I controlling the length or am I not controlling the length? Correct? Run is the statement which will tell, hey, I have given all the details. You can execute and you can display the results. That is the direction the run statement will give to SAS. Up to this, all of you are clear or any questions? Can I get a quick confirmation? All of you are clear up to this?
Yeah, this one.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, we
Anita,
can
tell
select
me.
path from properties.
You
File
can select.
properties. Path
Sorry, I'm not getting path. Okay. Let's say this is my
from
input
file.
file. Yeah, I can simply select the properties and I can see the location. This is my entire location. This is what I have given.
Okay.
All right. I know the location here. I know the file name here. I know the type of the property also here. All the three I can see from the property. Yeah, if it is a Linux or anything else, I can go with the list command, that is ls-ltr. If I go with that, I can get the complete details about it. That is, what is the file name, what are the permissions I have, what is the extension. To see that in which file, in which directory I am, I have to go with a command called present working directory, pwd. But this I can explain you in the Linux class. Don't worry for now. For now, you need to concentrate on the SAS side. So if I want to mention the file name, I need to mention where the file is located, what is the name of the file, and what is the property, right? So this is the first thing. So what I want to say is I need to go with the full path and the file name and the properties, right? So other than Anita, anyone has any other questions on this? Okay, cool. Let me run this. So we know how to run it. I simply go with the run and I can go with the selection and I just execute it. So I have the data set here. This is fine. The moment any code is executed, the first thing I need to look at is log. I need to see at the log. In the log, I must see all the details, meaning my code. This is the code that I have executed. I should not have any warnings and I should not have any errors. Remember that. I should not have anything related. If I go to the log summary, it will say the number of errors should be 0 and the number of warnings also should be 0. Sometimes some of the warnings are allowed. It's okay to have those warnings. I'll tell you what are those warnings that are allowed, what are the warnings we should take care. So for now I can say that some of the warnings you can allow them, not an issue, not an issue, right? And here you can see I don't have any errors and I don't have any warnings, and I can also see that my output is what I'm expecting. You can see this is the data that I have given as an input, 101A Murali 15M Hyderabad, and I can also see that A101 A Murali 15M Hyderabad. I can see that data is pretty much in line. But what I am interested is, from the moment I click on this particular execution, from the moment I click on this execution to till the moment I have received this particular output, what exactly happened in the background? How SAS executed this? What are the various steps that are behind? These are very, 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 very important, right? So that is what we are discussing today. That I'm calling as how SAS works. Is that clear? All right. So let's go with the first step. The moment you press your execution, or the moment you execute your SAS program, the moment you fire your run command, what will happen is SAS check for syntax errors. Okay, or even before that. Okay, let's say that simply first SAS is going to scan your code, whatever the code you have given. Let me go to the copy this. So this is the program. This is the program. The moment I fire this execute command, first SAS is going to check for syntax errors. Remember this, guys, there are two types of errors in SAS. Number one, syntax errors. Number two, data errors. SAS is least bothered about your data errors. That is, in the age, I supposed to have the numbers. If you enter some ABC, SAS is never mind about it. SAS will not mind about it, right? Because that's not the problem with SAS. That's a problem with the user input. But in this, let's say if you miss any semicolon, or if you give some space, or if you do something with the syntax, that is, SAS is expecting my code to be in this particular manner. If there are any deviations from that, if any deviations from that, right? In that particular case, SAS will say, hey, whatever the code that you have executed now, you're trying to execute now, that code has syntax errors. So I will throw an error. SAS check for syntax errors. If errors present, or if yes, that is there are syntax errors, then SAS stops execution. It won't go to the execution phase and throws an error in log window. So what is going to do? What it is going to do? As long as I don't have any syntax errors, I'm absolutely fine. But if there is any syntax error, I won't proceed to the next steps. I'll immediately stop the execution. For an example, I remove this particular one. Can you see this total thing is not meaningful now? Let's say I run this. Can you see the first thing is program got error? You can see the into mark here. Scroll down. Can you see? It doesn't know what it is. It is saying that I don't know, invalid option. This C colon, I don't know what is this colon is all about. I don't know about it, right? SAS is giving that, hey, I have a lot of errors here, you can see, correct? And also it is saying that the SAS system stopped processing this step because of the errors. Since I have the errors, I cannot proceed. So is this error related to any data? No, the error is related to syntax. So if there is any syntax errors, SAS immediately stops execution and throws the error in the log window. If no, hey, I don't have any errors, I'm good to go, then what I have to do now? I don't have errors, I'm saying. Then, if you don't have any errors, SAS proceeds to the next step. So let me tell you what is the next step is. Any questions up to this? The first step? As long as there are no syntax errors, I'll go to the next steps. If there are any syntax errors, SAS stops the execution and throws an error in the log window. Questions? Anyone? Any question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
I would like to ask you a question.
Please go ahead.
If there will be no syntax error on the in-file statement and the in-file statement, then automatically themselves will move on towards input, right?
It will check for every statement, not only in file. Here, I wantedly make a mistake in the in file statement. It will check all the statements, statement by statement. It will check everything. For an example, I put a error here. This is the syntax error here, right? So when I execute it, it will throw an error again. Can you see? It doesn't know what is this data lines or in file or extension for this. It don't know anything. So it throws an error. It never mind whether the error syntax error is in the first line or second line or third line. Anywhere, if there is any syntax error, it immediately stops the execution. It is not limited to data. It is not limited to in file. It is not limited to input. It can be any line. It is not only in the line number 1, 2, 3, or it is not in the statement number 1, 2, 3. In any statement, if there is any syntax error in my entire program, it will stop the execution and throws an error. Am I clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah. Now, the next thing I want to say here is, let's say I don't have any syntax errors. Then where it will go, correct? Then, if there are no syntax errors, then syntax error free code enters into a logical space. Remember this, into a logical space called, remember this, input buffer. Remember guys, input buffer is a logical space. It is part of RAM, your random access memory. The meaning of logical space is it is a virtual space, it is a virtual memory. So if you consider this as your RAM, whatever I'm showing in the Excel, if you consider this as a RAM, then whatever the program is there, this entire program as it is enters into a place called input buffer. Let's say this is my input buffer. This enters into this place. So in the input buffer, my entire code is there. This is my entire code, and this entire code is present in my input buffer now. Entire code. Okay. The code entered into the input buffer. So let's say this is the place, I can call it as the input buffer. Now what will happen? In the input buffer, there is a process called tokenization will happen. What is that? Tokenization. What do you mean by tokenization? Tokenization is all about, here SAS performs tokenization. The tokenization is all about creating tokens. So what is token? Token is nothing but,
Keyword.
sorry,
It's a keyword. The data in file input. And the run.
Exactly. Token is nothing but a keyword. Yeah, token is nothing but a keyword, just a keyword. So from my entire code, it will identify all, the keywords. So what are the keywords I have in this particular entire code? Can I say data is the keyword, or you can easily identify from here? What and all highlighted in either dark blue or light blue are nothing but my keywords, correct? So what is my first keyword? Yes, data is the keyword from the line number 1, correct? From the line number 2, in file is the keyword. From the line number 3, input is the keyword. So these are the variable names. I don't have any keywords here. The next keyword is in the line number 14, which is nothing but the run. Am I correct? Any other keywords are present? Check and tell me. No, right? I have 4 keywords. The first keyword is data. The second keyword is in file. The third keyword is input, and the last keyword is run. Am I correct or not? Right? So the
Yes.
process of the usage of this tokenization is, let me add a little more into the code just to enhance this. So don't worry, don't worry about the syntax. Let's say whatever the code is there, even I just say var name and age. So I just added another piece of code. Don't worry about this. What is this code is about and all. So let's say that even this code is part of my total program. So now in these 3 lines, again, I have 3 more keywords. What are them? I have a prog, right? I have print. I have data equal to is also a keyword. Data equal to is a keyword. You can see here. Whatever is getting highlighted in either dark blue or light blue is the keyword. Where is the keyword, and run is the keyword. Am I correct? All of you accept? So I'll tell you why I have selected these two now, right? But for an instance, all of you are able to understand what how to identify keywords from your given program or not. Can I get a quick confirmation, guys? Everyone, can I get a quick confirmation?
Yes, Murli.
Yes,
Perfect.
sir.
Yeah. Now, the next thing I want to talk here is going to be, for an example, now I can see that there are tokens which starts with data and run, ends with run. There are tokens which starts with proc and ends with run, correct? So this data keyword and this proc keyword identify my processors. That is, processor is something like this entire code will not get executed under a single processor. SAS has 3 different processors. Number 1, data processor. Number 2, proc processor. Number 3, macro processor. SAS has 3 processors. So each processor is responsible for executing some piece of code. So we need to decide, the SAS need to decide which one has to go under which one. Right? Which one has to go under which one? Right? 84. Right. So let me go with what is the meaning of the one that I'm talking here. All the data related code. So the tokens will identify, hey, I can see data here. So I need to go with the data processor. I can see proc here. I can go to the proc processor. So these keywords will help me to identify what piece of code to run under what processor. That is the main thing. All right. Now, what is macro then? Other than data and proc, if your code has any of percentage or ampersand, these are macro ones. These will represent macros. Percentage represent a macro, ampersand represent your macro variable. Don't worry about that particular stuff. We have a separate module, which is module number 8, which will be exclusively discuss about your macros, most important topic. For now, my code is free from the macros, so I don't need to worry much about it. Okay, so the first thing I have to understand here is, now since it has the data and run, whatever the code which is related to data and run, so this tokens will help us to identify what are the various processes that are required. So in my code, I have data and I have proc. So obviously I need to go with the data processor, and also I need to go with the proc processor. Right. So I don't have any macro related stuff. I don't require a macro processor. So all the codes which are related to the data, this is the data related code. This will go to this entire thing. All the data related code will come under data processor. All the proc related code will come under proc processor. So this is my proc processor. This is my data processor. So this code is related to data. So the data related code is here. Are you able to understand, guys, what I'm trying to say? From my given code, system is trying to understand what code needs to be run under what place. That is, whatever I can see here, the orange color one or light yellow color one, this code is related to data. So this entire code I need to process under the data processor. This is the first thing. And then I can see that this entire code is related to proc. So I need to process this under proc processor. I don't have any code to run under macro processor. Is that clear? What is the purpose of tokenization? The tokens will help you to understand, out of the 3 given processors, what code you need to execute under what processor. Questions? I will write this here. Tokens will help SAS to process the given code or the respective code under related processors. So what code need to be executed under what processor, right? So maybe it may be a data processor, it may be a proc processor, or it may be a macro processor. Am I correct? Any questions on this particular part? Are you able to understand the tokenization and the need of this?
Yes, sir.
Any questions from anyone? Right. For an example, guys, I just need to add a little more here. Let's say my code is extending this one. Let's say that after this, I have one more data step. Just I'm telling you. Let's say data new set student, right? Where age is greater than 16 and run.
Murli, I have
Yeah,
a question. Sorry.
no problem. Tell me.
Yeah, and this is before the execution, right? We are talking about all this, or
Yes,
even
yes. Before the execution. So SAS
okay,
is not started the execution yet. Now you can
okay.
see that these are the additional codes. I have added 2 more codes here, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you can see there is another data code. So the keywords are going to be for this. The keywords are going to be, I have data, I have set, I have where, and I have run. And again, I have proc, and I have contents, and I have data equal to, and I have run. So now SAS understands that there are two data blocks. These two are data blocks, correct? Sorry, these two are proc blocks. This one and this one is a proc block, and these two are going to be the data blocks. Am I correct? Right? Now SAS understands that there are 4 blocks in my program, or there are 4 steps in the program. 2 of them are the data steps and 2 of them are the proc steps. So under the data processor, this is under the data processor, I have to process this one. I'm done. And this one as well. These two falls under my data processor. When it comes to the proc processor, I already added this one, correct? And this one also will be part of my proc processor, correct? So now you are clear, right? So even how much big is the program is, maybe I have 10 steps, 20 steps, 30 steps, even 100 steps. The process remains going to be the same. Go to the tokenization, identify what part of the code need to be executed under what processor. Is that clear?
Yeah, I mean, this is clear, but I have one question, but that is related to this is related to when we are using the data and when we are using the procedures, proc.
No, don't go with that right now. Don't go with that
Okay.
right now. Yes, yeah, I can help you with that. Don't go with that right now. Right. So for now, just we are just going with the baby steps. So don't take too much load at this particular point of time. Right. So go slowly.